Welcome to the Art of Creating Through the ARTISTpreneur podcast with host Chandra Prophet. This week we sit down with Zonya Love, fellow artistpreneur, best known for her role as Celie in the closing cast of the original Broadway production of The Color Purple. Also known for creating her new one-woman concert called Spiritual Uprising, a concert of Negro Spirituals reimagined. Hello and welcome to the Art of Creating Through. I am your host, Chandra Prophet, and this is our ARTISTpreneur podcast where we dive into all things that help creatives create through the good, the bad, the ugly, and the painful. And of course, through greatness. So today I am so excited because I'm here with my friend and fellow entrepreneur, fellow artistpreneur, fellow, performer in the arts, Miss Zonya Love. Zonya!
Hey, how you doing?
Welcome.
Thank you.
Welcome. I'm so excited that you're here with me just to have a conversation about being an artist and being an entrepreneur. And a lot of people don't realize that those coincide. Like as you go through this life of being an artist, you realize that you are your biggest pusher. Mm-hmm. You are your biggest motivator, and that's a part of being an entrepreneur and making things and doing things. And so I'm super excited that you're here with me today to talk about, creating through. So
Well, let me say I'm happy to be here.
Yes.
It is such a pleasure. I have been a fan of yours and everything that you do since now. That's how I met you. So I'm really grateful to be here. Thank you.
Oh, yay. I feel like I go back.
I said snob. That's a different one.
But see,
Lights Out on Broadway.
But you know what? It's so funny because you say that, because I was just sitting before thinking, I'm like, where did me and Zonya actually meet?
Yeah.
And it was Lights Out.
Mm-hmm. It was Lights Out on Broadway at the location on 42nd Street.
Okay.
I don't remember.
Herbal.
Mm-hmm. Yep.
That's so crazy because, being around so many artists, I feel like everyone knows each other. I feel like it. I feel like everybody knows each other, and I feel like we've all worked together or been in the same spaces and not realizing that some people I see on the street and they're just like, girl, I seen you such and such and such and such, and I feel like we're, best friends or whatever. And I'm just like, oh man, like, girl, I thought I knew you.
That has happened to me. Go up to a person like, hey girl, do you remember? Oh, that's just in my head.
Just seeing you in passing or been in the same spaces or creative spaces or whatnot. So that is funny. But I'm glad that we know each other. Hello. So I have some questions and some, topics that I want to kind of dive in with you and, kind of go from there and see how it is. So first of all, let's tell the people a little bit about who you are, what your artistry is. Okay. And you can do that on your...
Yeah. So I'm Zonya Love. What's up, everybody? No, seriously. I'm Zonya. I'm from the Carolinas. I say the Carolinas because I was born in and partially raised in South Carolina and partially raised in North Carolina and went to the finest HBCU in the world. Some people think it's Howard, but I have to back to defy and say Aggie Pride.
Oh, my
I'm going to get in trouble. But I grew up singing in the church, and that's, I would say, the foundation of my artistry. And I went to school, and I kind of fell into acting, and then went to graduate school for acting, and have been pursuing it for 20 years.
Oh, wow.
20 years plus, thank you.
Oh, wow. You're so young and vibrant.
Well, see, that's what it looked like. But she got some grades. Well, I had some grades before I cut it off. They're gone now. They're gone right now. But I love them, so when it comes back, I'm going to keep them.
Speaking of cutting off, like, this is a total tangent, but, like, this look,
Thank
is everything.
Thank you.
So a lot of people don't know Zonya used to have this like full, vivacious, big hair, and then one day we do a creative class together where we tap into our creativity, and she just showed up one day with no hair, and I was like, girl.
Yeah, see, it started with right before the pandemic. Right before we knew it existed.
Right.
Last August, August of 2019, I had gotten sister locks, and they cost quite a bit to maintain. Yeah. And so being during the pandemic, $200 for a retightening, I just couldn't fit that bill. Or I could, but I didn't. I wanted to be mindful of how I was spending my money.
Absolutely.
So at first I cut it off, just enough, it wasn't crazy. Still had some hair on the top. And then I was like, I've always wanted to cut my hair bow. Why don't I just do it now? And so I did it 3 weeks ago.
I mean, it is gorgeous.
Thank you.
But it was a shock.
Yeah.
A complete shock. I was like, you okay? Are you okay?
I promise I'm not going through a crisis. I didn't have lice. No, I really just wanted to see what my head shape looked like.
But it's gorgeous.
Thank you.
I'm glad you did it. I mean, people don't believe me, but I used to be Holly Berry short.
For real?
Mm-hmm.
I want to see a picture.
I will show you pictures. I used to love my short hair. Love my short hair. That's when I was modeling full time. I was way short hair.
Yes.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, see, it's something about, I don't know, I always thought that I would come off the wrong way with the short haircut. Mm-hmm. Not because I thought it, but because of the way short hair is stereotyped for Black women.
Yeah.
But I have to say, it made me see myself more beautiful than when I had hair. I mean, I was fine when I had hair. we gotta pump ourselves up.
Yes,
but
we do.
When I cut my hair, I was like, I can see everything. I can see my eyes. I can see my cheekbones.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, it's the look for me for right now.
I love it.
Mm-hmm.
I love it so much.
Thank you.
Okay, so let's get into this conversation. Okay. So before the pandemic, what were you doing as an artist?
Okay, so I was in the revival cast of ADIA. We were in maybe our...
I'm jealous,
by the way.
It was so jealous.
Listen, if you had to do some of them dances that Miss Camille was doing, honey, we were in rehearsal for that for I think maybe 4 or 5 days. When we found out that it was, I walked into rehearsal and I had a later call. And someone said, you might as well turn back around. Today's our last day. And I said, oh, well, I kind of figured that would happen, if they want us to be safe. And then shortly after, Broadway made the announcement that they were shutting everything down.
Wow.
And so I remember, this is a side note, but I remember thinking to myself, man, if theater is shut down, not to wish bad on anyone else, but I hope other industries shut down too, because if it's just the theater industry, we're not going to be taken care of.
Yeah.
So I was really glad
that
everything got shut off.
Yeah.
Because it forced our government to do something.
And it also forced them to see how much we as the artists or the entertainment sector bring so much money into the city. They have been struggling without Broadway, without theaters, without live performances, live music. I mean, you just have to think about how much one family plans to come to New York. That's a hotel, that's dining, that's attractions, that's all the things, and for all of that to be stripped, our city was like, okay,
it was on struggle bus.
It was. Absolutely. So you were in AIDA.
Yep, we were rehearsing for AIDA, and then I also had a few more contracts coming up. Doing a show at People's Light. Would have been doing a show about Bayard Rustin and his contribution to the civil rights movement, and then I was going to be going to Sacramento in the summer at Broadway, Sacramento, to do Celie in the Color Purple. So revive her once more.
Yes. Because your Broadway debut was Celie in the original.
Yes. So I got to trail Miss Fantasia Barrino, and that is a whole web series in itself because she's so fun. And my first day trailing her, she was like, now I'm gonna tell you, you want to take it easy, you want to pace yourself. And she was so sweet. And she's from High Point, North Carolina, which is down the street from Greensboro, where I went to school. So, that was my Broadway debut. I had just moved to New York I think I moved to New York Labor Day. And I found out that I booked Celie around November 9th or 11th.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
So I will say that I did see you.
Oh, you did?
I did.
This is one of my good days.
Well, it was great to me, so I'm guessing it was one of your good days. But I was fortunate. I got to see everybody.
Yeah.
I was like, I'm one of those theater people that if I can go to the theater, I'll go. And so I was in town, and that was the only show that I could rush multiple times. Yep. And so I was able to see you. I saw, when it first opened, I was able to see LaChance. I saw Jeanette. I saw Jeanette. I saw Fantasia in LA. Like, I see that show like way too many times.
It's one of them shows you can see a lot.
I took my mama and everybody, so I saw it a bunch of times. But it is a great show.
Ooh, would you make a good old Suge?
Come on and tell somebody.
Would you make a good old Suge?
Tell somebody.
Oh my God, you would make an amazing Suge.
You know, it's something on my vision board.
It's gonna happen.
You know.
Yeah. I see it.
We'll see it, girl. Tell you. Hello, casting.
You're speaking it out.
Hello, casting. So let's go into some of these questions. How has the pandemic affected you as an artist?
Okay, so I always hesitate saying this because it sounds a little dismissive of what other people have gone through, but I will say that the pandemic has been a blessing for me. I was overworked, hustling, grinding, doing all that, surviving, all that scratching and surviving. Not good times.
Yes.
And the pandemic gave me breathing room. And, once we started getting unemployment, additional benefits, I was able to maintain my expenses living in this expensive city without working 3 and 4 temp jobs. Yeah. And so because I was able to do that, I was able to focus on creating for myself versus creating for everybody else, which is what pre-pandemic was. Me adding to everyone else's vision, creating a character for someone else's play, singing music for someone else's song. Yes. I was able to really hone in on what my point of view as an artist is. And so I would say around maybe June or July, some of my colleagues, we got together and worked together to create an event band. I don't know if you know that industry, but a lot, you'll rarely find an event band where there's more than 2 or 3 black singers in an event band. And I've heard of, some of the stories where it's like, oh, it's too many black people in that band. Yeah. Or we want more white songs. Sorry, not white songs, maybe. That's I ain't need to be
watered down.
Yeah, I don't need to be censoring myself.
No, do not censor yourself.
So that's pretty much what that was. So we wanted to create an environment for ourselves to be entrepreneurs and still do our art. So we went to work on House of Mahogany is the name of it. I since had to part ways because I was working on Spiritual Uprising, which I'll tell you about. So that was the beginning of this taking charge of my role as a creative. And then Spiritual Uprising came about, which was a show that you mentioned, I had just finished streaming May 7th, is a concert with some spoken word, singing the Negro Spirituals, but reimagined and told through the lens of our current society.
How could you be an artist and not reflect the times? That, to me, is the definition of an artist. And I sing these songs for you, Nina Simone. Activists. Eartha Kitt. Activists. Paul Robeson. Activists. James Baldwin. Toni Morrison, Muhammad Ali. Oh, I hope your spirit is free. Go down, Moses. Go down. I hope your spirit is free.
It was a necessary piece of art that I needed to create.
Absolutely.
Outside of other people needing to see it or maybe heal from it, I needed to heal from the art, and I thought the best way to do that would be to go back to what our ancestors,
the basics.
Yeah, the basics, and it was really therapeutic, cathartic, and healing for me to just work on the music.
So let's talk about that for a second, because a lot of us as artists find it really hard to pursue passion projects because of being overworked or trying to, fulfill somebody else's dreams and that or whatever. What was the moving and deciding factor that you were like, I have to do this? Like, I cannot. I'm pulling away from this other thing that I created in love and whatever, which was House of Mahogany or whatnot. And that's something that you wanted to do, but you had to pull away from it to be able to do Spiritual Uprising. What was that tug?
So Spiritual Uprising had been, before it was the title, Spiritual Uprising, the idea to do an album with Negro Spirituals Reimagined was planted in me in 2015. By that point, I had done a few shows where we told stories using the music of the Negro Spirituals, labor songs, work songs, and then I would, anytime if I was in rehearsal or just walking down the street, I would get a tune, a melody in my head, but using the lyrics of the Negro Spirituals, and so that it was planted in me then. But when I tell you how dark my life or just life seemed after Ahmaud Arbery, Breonna Taylor, and George Floyd, and that was the pot boiling over. We're not talking about the pot simmering. We're not talking about putting the pot on the stove.
We're talking about hot boiling water.
Hot boiling. I was in despair, really. Is the best way to describe it. And I needed an out. And so what allowed me to do it was that I didn't have any excuse to not. Before it was, I don't have the time.
I don't have the time. I got to do something for somebody else.
And I don't have the money. And this time I did not have an excuse because I was commissioned by People's Light to create this piece.
Oh my
God. I didn't have anything standing in my way. And so,
the universe was like, remember that one time?
Basically. And I said, okay, I'll take it. It was scary, but because I'll talk, one of the things to work through is the impostor syndrome, or do I need to recreate this thing? Hasn't this story already been told?
Yes.
Am I gonna do something to add to it, or am I detracting from it? So all of those demons, those I'm not good enough demons, those lack of value demons, they come and they try to get you. And I said, I was consistently talking to myself all the time, even if it was just try. I grew up hearing that phrase, to try is to fail, either you do or you don't. And so even doing was trying, if that makes sense. And I just had to follow through. Because at this point it was beyond me. What was that? There was a video of our video, It's Above Me Now. It was above me. It was above me. It was out of my what's the word am I trying to say? I had no control over it at this point. It was about what needed to be brought to light.
And it's coming out of you regardless, if you wanted it or not.
Absolutely. That's what it was.
That's funny. That I mean, not funny in the sense of haha, but just it's funny how things happen. I definitely have had that experience, not that deep, where it's just crippling me. But I have had where I've felt like I needed to create or needed to do something other than what I was doing at that moment.
Yeah.
And not even on a large scale, but just I needed to create. If that's go record a song, go write a poem, whatever it is, then I'm gonna go sew, you know, go whatever. I just needed to do something creative in this moment that it wouldn't let me shake unless I did it.
Yeah.
You know, that's what it sounds like to me.
Yeah. Oh, and I brought up House of Mahogany because that was the start of it. And I'll come back to the end of this and tag it with what I'm trying to say. So House of Mahogany, we were creating medleys and things like medley videos to, like, you know, get our name out there. And I would say halfway through our existence, I learned of a friend of mine who lost her mom and her aunt within 2 weeks because of COVID. And I felt so bad for her. And like the song, I wrote a song called Get Through This, and it was literally about what she was going through and not being able to reach out and touch and hold and help and, you know, outside of, you know, from a distance. And I wrote the song Get Through This, and then House of Mahogany recorded. And I say all that to say that one inkling or that one opportunity to create empowered me to create more.
Yeah.
And so getting past that point where I'm not good enough just to create just a little bit. And so I say this to encourage anyone who is like, I don't have enough, or this is only a song, or this is only a poem. It only means something to me. You put it out there, and that's it. You release it, and you will feel confident and empowered to do the next and the next and the next.
Absolutely. I love that so much.
Yeah.
That was a gem. Did you catch it? Did you catch it, honey? Because that was a gem. Has being in this pandemic or going through this pandemic made you question your artistry in a sense of, should I pivot out of being an artist and figure out a 9-to-5 situation, or should I
Sorry to laugh. Go ahead, finish. I'm sorry.
or, you know, has it just made you really, really hone in on your artistry?
The latter.
Yeah.
Like, I have I worked a 9-to-5, like an actual 9-to-5 ever in my life? I'm trying, like, even when I do temp jobs, it's not even 9-to-5. It's like 9-to-3. But that has never been my thing. And even with the pandemic and wondering if I need to pivot, it was more about in which way can I use my art.
Yes.
It was never like, I think I'm going. Now I will say I've thought about, you know, going ahead and being on somebody's faculty.
Yeah.
But a theater faculty is probably the closest I've gotten to, like, leaving the business. But I will say, if leaving the business is ever a question that I'm considering or an action that I'm considering, it doesn't have anything to do with the pandemic.
Yeah.
It has so much to do with the way the industry is.
That's right.
That I have to make sure, and this is one of the things I wanted to talk about, how important it is for us to maintain those new habits and those new boundaries that we've set for ourselves during this pandemic.
Well, let's go into that, because that was actually a next question of mine. Because of this pandemic, what new boundaries, what new expectations have you put on yourself or given yourself permission to have, you know, as an artist, as a performing artist, as an artist giving your art to other people, lending your art to other people? Have you created new boundaries for yourself, like that when you go in spaces, people know, oh, Zonya's only gonna do A, B, and C?
Well, I have to say that I feel really tapped into spirit, and I really, like, I pray about my spirit of discernment, and this has been a practice of mine for a long time. I grew up in the church, so I know that it's a thing, right? And so I've been on this trajectory of doing art that's important to me. Doing art that says something, whether it's a comedy or drama or whatever. I can't just be some stage parsley. I have too much to say, too much to add, and I can't fill your quota. So that's been something I've been putting into practice for the last at least 7 years. But more so now than ever, having this time to do some ongoing and some consistent and some constant self-work. Honey child, you can't ask me about my value now.
It's real.
Okay? Because
it's real.
Not knowing your value will have you out here doing
Any and everything.
To be seen, to get noticed by this person, to get da 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 da. This job begets the next job, begets the next job. But sometimes it doesn't. And sometimes you're there just because people want to feel good about having your presence in their piece. And so, and also not wanting to pay you. And we've in our class, our Hack Your Creative Flow and Tia's Creative Power class, learned about negotiating and talking and giving a number. Like, okay, this is where this is as high as you're gonna go. Okay, fine. Well, this is as low as I'm gonna go. And I am proud to say for the last 3 projects I've done, I've negotiated. I've asked for more money because I thought my time and my creativity, what I'm adding to your project.
100%.
And so, that's what I would say one of the things that this pandemic has created in me, or bubbled up in me, the need to fight for myself, to advocate for myself in a business savvy way. Now I would, something happened in the rehearsal or someone said something or did something, I would definitely speak up for myself. So I didn't have any issues there, but when it came to being undervalued, the business side, I didn't have that.
And that's something that we have to tap into 100%, like across the board as artists, is learning the business side of artistry. Being an artist, of being an artistpreneur, because that's where people fall short. 100%. You can be the best artist, you can have the most amazing talent and get treated like crap because you don't know your worth.
And if I can say, people are counting on you to not know your worth, because that puts them in an upper hand position, and they can get out of you what they need without paying you your full value.
Not gonna happen. You hear me?
Okay.
Not gonna happen. Oh my goodness. This has been a great conversation so far. We'll have a couple more questions and then we're going to get out your way. But this is just simple. What motivates you? And not even as an artist, just in life. What motivates you?
What motivates me? I don't know if I can put this into a word.
Okay.
Full potential. Is that okay? I'll explain it.
That makes sense to me.
I want not just myself, but I want everybody to reach their fullest potential as a human being. I'll tell you a funny story. Yesterday I was coming from work and I was coming down the subway from outside, and this man, he was like on the ground struggling, and there was a lady who had gone down before me. And the guy looked like he was trying to get up, so I was like, "Are you okay? Are you okay?" And he gave me the thumbs up like he was okay. And then the lady that was ahead of me, she was like, "He's fine." I was like, "Sir, are you okay?" "He's fine. He's always out here." And I was like,
"That doesn't mean he's fine."
I'm sorry. Actually, I said, "Did you ask him?" "He's always out." "Did you ask him?" Did you ask him?" "I don't have to ask him. He's always out here, blah, blah, blah." And then I was like, well, what business is of yours if I'm asking this man, has nothing to do with you, how he's doing? And the last thing I said before she did whatever she did was, I said, it doesn't hurt to have a little bit of compassion. And that's what I'm seeing in the world. Like, we, as a whole, and I don't want to generalize, but more of us than not, not enough of us are compassionate towards people we don't know. And so for me, that's part of reaching your fullest potential. You can't have success and acquired all of these things, these items, and be dirty on the inside and not respect your fellow man, right? And so for me, that's what motivates me. I remember when I was a kid and like, how come more Christians aren't out there speaking about how we're supposed to be Christ-like versus this religion? All the things that we don't do and what we should do. What about the things that we should do? And as a kid, I've always felt the importance of leading by example. And if we're going to be followers of Christ, and if we're saying we're following Christ, then we have to have compassion, we have to have grace,
That's right.
and we have to extend that to everybody.
That's right.
And that is what motivates me, honestly. I want to be an example of what it means to treat another person like they have a heart, a brain. What's the other thing? Courage. You know.
That is so beautiful.
Thank you.
You know, I don't think a lot of people think about motivation from the other side, which I feel like that is. You know, feeling like, you know, what motivates me is seeing how me being 100% pure and true makes you feel. That's beautiful.
It's
Come on,
important.
sis. Come on, sis. That is everything. This is a fun question. What is your most creative time of the day? Is it first thing in the morning? Is it late at night? Is it dusk? Like, what is your creative time?
I would say late at night. I've always been nocturnal from what I can remember, and it might have something to do, you know, college, after class, the night is done as far as work is concerned. Me and my little college homies, we would get together and enjoy some cooking and just jam. Like, I would either do like ad-libs and sing or beatbox, and someone would be on the table beating or on a drum beating, and other people would be rapping, and we would just have a circle of just expressing ourselves, and that would be, we would be doing that 2, 3, 4 in the morning.
Wow, yeah.
And it has always been like
shed.
Yeah. And so I found that, not that I was looking, but it just happens to be that I have more ideas at night, or I'm more alert at night, and there's less noise.
Yeah.
I'm able to hear what Spirit is telling me. The less noise, the quieter it is, and that's usually at night.
Nice. I love it. This is going to be my last question.
No.
Soundbite. This is going to be my last question for you. And it's a twofold. Because a lot of people have been in this time dealing with depression and anxiety and, you know, those type of adjectives. My question is, as a creative who could possibly have felt those things as well, what is some advice that you can give, or things that you've done for yourself to help you continue to create through those feelings, because those are crippling feelings?
Absolutely. And I will say that I have experienced and continue to experience depression and anxiety. I call my depression the cloud, because it just feels like a big mass of darkness hovering over, and I don't even try to explain it anymore, because, you know, the first question that a lot of people ask is, well, what happened? And then I feel guilty about, oh, well, nothing happened, so I don't have a reason to be feeling this way. So the first thing I would say is be honest. Like, there's no shame in it. Yeah. There is no shame in it, except that it is, right? That's the overall note, I would say. But anytime, like, I can get a sense of when it's coming. And so, like, I feel my mood, like, it's just low, and my body aches, and I'm really lethargic, and I want to eat, but I can't. When I feel that coming on, I already have my affirmations that are ready. I have my scriptures that are ready. I have my playlist that's ready. And my bed. Because honestly, sometimes it's just a matter of, let me just literally go through this.
Yeah.
Let me not try to suppress it. And a lot of times, even before I realized what I was dealing with, I would just try to suppress and cover up. Like, there can't be anything wrong with me. Nothing happened to me today. So I just have to be honest about what it is that I'm going through, and then go through it. You know, you have to go through it. There's no escaping.
There's no escaping it.
You can hide it, cover it up,
100%.
but it's still there.
Yeah, 100%. Zonya, thank you so much for being here with me. I want to really quickly talk about Spiritual Uprising and tell us, is there a way that they can still see it? Or is it going to come back for an encore? What's happening with Spiritual Uprising?
Okay, so Spiritual Uprising, we ended streaming on May 7th. I have a few friends have reached out and said, hey, are you willing to take this somewhere else? And I say, actually, I am, because when I first planned it, when I first started writing the show for People's Light, I just thought it was going to be a one-off. And then slowly things have been revealed to me. So the vision for Spiritual Uprising is huge. I don't know how to get to that place.
That's not your job.
You're right. And I'm accepting that fact. Normally I wouldn't be able to be like, what I got to do.
Yes.
And
let the universe work, honey.
I'm patient. I spoke it out. I accept what the journey is supposed to be and what the result is supposed to be. So I'm just remaining open. But it is not, at the moment, it is not scheduled for an encore, but I will say, well, only for people in Pennsylvania, the local affiliate PBS, they will be airing it on Juneteenth.
Oh, nice! That's awesome!
Yeah, I just found out, and I'm really excited about it because Juneteenth. Hello,
it's Juneteenth.
Yes. Okay. And so that's the most immediate thing. But until then, I'm actually going to Milwaukee to do a concert, a 60-minute concert of the music. And outside of that, I'll just be honing on the script and making edits and working out the arrangements for the songs. So I want to add maybe 2 or 3 more songs because my goal is to have it fully produced with all the trimmings.
Yes.
I want to have a dancer or 2 or 3.
Yes.
I haven't decided yet in my head. I
see it.
You see it?
I see it.
Do you see me playing a djembe? Because I just started learning to play djembe.
Callie has a djembe that you can
For real?
Yes.
Oh, okay, Callie,
Callie can be up there playing with you. Yes.
Okay. Yes. But yeah, that's the plan. I'm just being open. I know in my heart that it has more life.
Yeah.
And I'll share that, and I'll just go ahead and say, so when it happens, people are like, oh yes, you can say that. Like, I expect it to be all over the country, all over the nation, touring, traveling, have a few companies of it, give somebody else a job, let them tell the story of the ancestors, and that's
so the actual full term goal in your head is for it to be adapted into a full stage play. Amazing.
Yeah. Or like a music with
play.
some words. Yeah. Because I want the music. I want the music to be the highlight of it. Yeah. So I'm just gonna do.
Opera-ish.
Yeah, but with Negro Spirituals. Yeah. And so I'm just doing the things that I have control over, which is honing in on the script, working on the arrangements, creating my packet. So that, whenever they're ready to say, hey, Zonya, we would like to bring your show in, then the reference tracks are ready, all the music is ready, the plot is ready, everything in my control.
That's awesome.
That's the goal.
That's awesome. That's going to happen, and I am in full agreement with you that it's going to.
Touch and agree.
Yes, touch and agree, honey. You just win 2 or more.
Hey, come on. Don't make me. Hey, I'm Pentecostal, child.
Yes.
Shout.
Yeah, any moment.
Take off.
I love you so much. Thank you so much for being here with me. Listen, if you want to follow Zonya Love, please follow her on all social media platforms.
Instagram and Twitter. I'm not very active, but there be some things I post from time to time. At Love Zonya.
For Twitter and Instagram, follow Zonya Love at Love Zonya. And I will put all the information in the show notes so that you can follow her and follow all the things that are happening with her and Spiritual Uprising, which is going to be an amazing event coming to a city near you, is what we're trying to say.
You're really trying to make me run.
I am Chandra Prophet. Thank you so much for joining me for another episode of The Art of Creating Through. Please like, comment, and subscribe, and I will see you on the next video.